How's the revision going? Yeah, mine's going all right. I got a bit distracted, video games, friends, going to London, protesting climate change marches, that kind of thing. It's going all right. Let's do a bit more. So while I've been doing my revision, one thing I've noticed is it's really easy to go really deep into a topic and spend too much time on too much detail. So for this subtopic, which is Buddhist places of worship, I really want us to concentrate on just three things, because when you think about it, for each section of the exam, three things is the most you could be asked about any subtopic, because of the Part A questions. Typical Part A question would be describe three key features of a Buddhist place of worship, or describe three activities carried out in a Buddhist place of worship. Part B and C are going to ask you why two things are important, but only two, and you know your Part D will be a statement. So let's concentrate on three key ideas about Buddhist places of worship. So I'm going to go with the first key idea about Buddhist places of worship is that they are places of learning. If we go back right to the beginning of Buddhism, the first viharas, the word is often used by Theravadan Buddhists for their places of worship. The first viharas were established as places for the bhikkhus, for the monks to go during the rainy season. Remember, all the early Buddhist monks were wandering. They didn't have homes, they travelled from place to place to spread the Dharma. But when the rains came, they needed a place to be, to shelter. And so they would gather together in very simple accommodation, gather together to learn and teach each other. This idea of the Buddhist places of worship, the viharas, the temples, the gompas, as places of learning is continued. Whether we are talking about a huge temple complex like Angkor Wat in Cambodia or Ket Lok Si in Malaysia, or you might be talking about your local Buddhist centre, which is just in a town hall or a village hall. There will always be a library of some kind for the Buddhists to learn about the Dharma. So our first key idea is places of worship as centres of learning. Our second key idea about Buddhist places of worship is that they are places for all Buddhists to go to pay their respects to Buddha, pay their respects as teacher. Now, although the exam will talk about Buddhist places of worship, Buddha is not worshipped as a god. He's not a god. So reverence or acts of devotion towards the Buddha are carried out in Buddhist places of worship. Now, as Buddhism travelled around the world, these places of worship can be so different. Some are very simple shrines, others are massive temple complexes, huge statues of Buddha. But they all have this key idea that they are there for Buddhists to pay their respects. The typical way that one might do this is by making offerings of incense, making offerings of flowers, water, and in many cases, donating money to the temple itself. Okay, idea number 3, we're going to go with the idea of Buddhist places of worship as places for people to gather together to do their puja. Puja is Buddhist devotion, ritual practice, which can be done alone, but it's also done with others at the temple. Puja consists of chanting of mantras, of making the offerings, and showing reverence to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha itself. So our third idea is the Buddhist places of worship are for people to come together to collectively make puja. You can develop your idea of Buddhist places of worship as spaces for people to come together as a Sangha to make their puja together. They would do so at particularly special times of the year at the festivals. So, for example, at Vesak, Buddha Day, which is celebrated at the full moon in May, Buddhists will gather together and the temples will be filled with offerings and celebrations of the birth, the life, the enlightenment and the death of the Buddha. Similarly, at Dharma Day, when the full moon in July means the gathering together of Buddhists to celebrate this gift of the Dharma. 3 key ideas about Buddhist places of worship. Number 1, the Theravadan viharas that were established for the monks to retreat to when the rains came. Number 2, the Mahayana temples to show reverence and respect to the Buddha. And number 3, places for you to go and offer puja, devotion to Buddha. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.